Hey y'all, be
Hey,
here.
Uncle Snap.
We've been thinking.
Good to see y'all.
Good to see y'all, yeah. Or good for y'all to see us. I guess we can't see y'all, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's good to be here.
We can't see them?
No.
Oh, yeah, no, we can't see them. Yeah,
it's good to be here with y'all, though.
It is, yeah.
I'm glad that y'all chose to spend some time with us and watch our video. All right, so today is May 8th, and today is, what's today?
Mother's Day.
Today is Mother's Day, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Yes.
I spoke to my mother earlier and wished her,
I'd also like to say that I know everyone doesn't have great relationships with their mothers, because to give birth does not necessarily mean to be a mother, in my opinion. So, giving birth does not necessarily make one a mother. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know that there are lots of you out there who have probably found mothering figures throughout your life. So call them and wish them a happy Mother's Day, whether it's your aunt or your grandmother or, a friend's mom, whoever, a sister, whatever.
I have a little story there, but I'll let it lie. Go ahead.
Today is also coconut cream pie day. Gross. I don't like coconut cream pie, but it is. And have a Coke day. So if you have a Coke, go grab one and sip on it while you watch this video. And today is also National Student Nurse Day. So if you know or have...
Can you text somebody right quick and tell them to bring us a coconut cream pie?
No, ew. I thought you were going to say Coke.
No, I'll eat the whole thing.
Oh, Coke and a cream pie. I thought you meant just a cream pie. I was like, ew, no.
Yeah.
If you like them, that's cool. All right, so I figured today we would talk about the history of Mother's Day, because I love history, and I think that's one of the things we said we would talk about on here, right?
I love history as well, yeah.
So I've never looked up the history of Mother's Day, so I thought what a great chance to do it. All right, so celebrations of mothers and motherhood can be traced back to ancient Greeks and Romans. Did you know that?
No.
They held festivals of the mother goddess Rhea and, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Cybele, C-Y-B-E-L-E.
C-Y-B-E-L-E.
Yeah.
Cybele. It could be a Sybil.
Yeah, it could. I thought maybe it could be Sybil.
Yeah. Or Sybil could be a variation of it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But the clearest modern precedent for Mother's Day is the early Christian festival known as Mothering Sunday, which I did not know. Which was
fitting.
Yeah, which was once a major tradition in the UK and parts of Europe, which was originally seen as a time where the faithful would go to the church that was in the nearest vicinity of their home to listen to a special service. And over time, the tradition shifted into a more secular holiday, and children would present their mothers with gifts and tokens of appreciation and flowers. And the custom eventually faded popularity before merging with the American Mother's Day in the 1930s and 40s. See, so that was before it ever even got over here, before America was even...
So the 1930s and 40s is when it kind of began to become mainstream in America.
Well, that's when this UK tradition of Mothering Sunday merged with the U.S. modern Mother's Day.
I got you. Yeah.
So like at church this morning, and the church that my parents go to, and that I grew up in, they always do baby dedications on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So, which after figuring this out, I was like, oh, there's a tie, to Mother's Day in church, and then Mother's Day just as a holiday.
Yeah, I remember y'all did that at that church
last year. So my sister did it with her. Yeah,
yeah,
and my sister and my cousin had a baby this morning.
Yeah, I spoke to a friend earlier, wife of a buddy of mine, and she was at church with her parents. And it was they were able to go and present their mothers with a rose during the service, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
They also do they'll present a rose to like the oldest mother, the mother with the most children present, stuff like that.
Right.
All right, so the origins of Mother's
Yeah,
Day.
got to make the normal mothers feel bad about themselves. You know what I mean? By picking out the best one.
Special.
Yeah,
The special
the
mom.
special mom. Yeah.
So, the origins of Mother's Day in the U.S., though, dates back to the 19th century, like we said. So, in the years before the Civil War, Ann Reeves Jarvis of West Virginia helped to start Mother's Day work clubs to teach women how to properly care for their children. Okay. And these clubs became a unifying force in a region of the country still divided by the Civil War. In 1868, Jarvis organized Mother's Friendship Day, at which mothers gathered with former Union and Confederate soldiers to promote reconciliation, which I found very interesting.
Very cool. Mothers, mothers transcend all geopolitical affairs.
Yeah, well, I thought it was also interesting to find a way in which women and mothers, had a part in all that isn't really talked about or that I ever knew. I didn't know that.
No.
Which, by the way, all this information that I'm giving y'all is from history.com. So I'm going to try to put the link for the article in the description if y'all want to go read like all the information, because I tried to condense it.
Right.
So, yeah, because there are a couple other precursors to Mother's Day that y'all can read about, if you so choose. All right, so Anna Jarvis turned Mother's Day into a national holiday. Now, Anna Jarvis is the daughter of Ann Reeves Jarvis, okay? And so when her mother died in 1905, she conceived of Mother's Day to celebrate, the sacrifices that mothers made for their children.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, her mother was the inspiration for that. Yeah,
right,
obviously.
Yeah.
So she gained financial backing from a department store owner in Philadelphia. And in May of 1908, the first official celebration at a Methodist church in Grafton, West Virginia. That's where they held the first Mother's Day. And also, I read that a bunch of, it brought thousands of people to celebrate Mother's Day to one of his department stores.
That had to be J.C. Penney.
No, his name was John Wanamaker or Wanamaker, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, following the success of that, I also found it interesting that she herself remained unmarried and childless for her entire life. But she resolved to see the holiday added to the national calendar. She made that her life goal, arguing that American holidays were biased towards male achievements. So she started a massive letter campaign to newspapers and prominent politicians, urging them to adopt a special day honoring motherhood.
Yeah.
And by 1912, many states, towns, and churches had adopted Mother's Day as annual holidays, and she established the Mother's Day International Association to help promote her cause. And do you know who was president at that time? In 1914?
Gosh.
Because her persistence finally paid off in 1914. When President...
I don't know, would have been
Are you good on your president history?
Not that.
All right, President Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
Signed a measure officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. So, yeah. Now, here's a twist to the story. By the 1920s, she had become disgusted with how the holiday had been commercialized. All right.
Of course, yeah.
And she had initially worked with the floral companies and stuff to promote Mother's Day, but yeah, she just really did not like the commercialization, and she resorted to an open campaign against Mother's Day profiteers, including confectioners, florists, and charities. And she also
that's understandable.
She also launched countless lawsuits against groups who used the name Mother's Day, in their advertising, and she actually spent most of her wealth away in legal fees doing that. So, and by the time
was committed,
and by the time of her death in 1948, she disowned the holiday altogether, and she actively lobbied the government to see it removed from the national calendar. I know.
Yeah.
And I also have some notes here from Mother's Day around the world, because traditions vary depending on the country. In Thailand, it is always celebrated in August on the birthday of the current queen, who is Sirikit right now. And another alternative observance can be found in Ethiopia, where families gather each fall to sing songs and eat a large feast as part of Antroshit. I'm not saying that right, but Antrosht, Antrosht, a multi-day celebration honoring motherhood.
Cool.
Yes, and Mother's Day they had a note in there that it has also been used as a day, to launch political or feminist things.
Right.
In 1968, Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, she used it to host a march for underprivileged women and children.
Yeah.
Which I thought was also an interesting fun fact.
Yeah, it's wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to politicize it as well. But go ahead.
Well,
not that I didn't mean in that particular case.
No. Yeah. But yeah.
So what you're telling me is this woman who the daughter of the woman who
and
invented
Jarvis,
it, who lived a life of fighting for being recognized as a holiday, and then ultimately finding distaste with the fact that it was being commercialized. So what you've just explained to me is a woman who thinks that it's hers, and if it ain't gonna be done her way, then we can't have it at all.
Right. No, that's a good point to make, though.
I just.
But that's an interesting point.
I was trying to be funny.
I know,
I guess it could be, because there's a lot of men and women who, if it can't be my way, then I'll just, take my bow and go home, or burn it all down.
Yeah.
A lot of that going on these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we can understand her, her disgust towards it getting so commercialized.
Right.
I definitely get that.
Yeah.
But then, maybe her way of going about it was kind of wrong.
It could be.
Maybe she should have spent all that energy and money trying to just kind of bring people back to what it really meant, instead of just saying, like you're saying, if it's not my way and not how I want to do it, then let's not do it at all.
That's not what my mother intended the way for it to be.
Right.
Yeah, and but then again, man, that would apply to so many
Well, and it
things.
seems like her mother didn't even really seem for it to even see it
Probably
go that
didn't.
way. You know what I mean?
Didn't.
She probably didn't even realize that her daughter would take that on as her life's mission to make it, a national holiday, and then, funnily enough, spend the next part of her life trying to get rid of it. So, that's
that is interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah.
But that
Happy
also,
Mother's Day,
yes, Happy Mother's Day
everyone.
to everyone.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Which also kind of coincided with this article that I wanted to bring up that my dad sent me to read, which I will also link in the description below, called "A 4-Year-Old Can Run Errands Alone and Not Just on Reality TV." And it's not an article technically. I think it's a blog post. All right. So it's this woman, and she had a 4-year-old daughter. I'm just going to give y'all a little synopsis of what the article is about. You can read the whole thing for yourself, because it is a little bit longer, because she goes into more in depth, about the whole, I guess, kind of psychology behind it or whatever. But so they had a 4-year-old daughter, and she had figured out how to climb out onto their roof. Now, I don't think she ever really says where they live, but obviously, in a city,
Right.
Which of course terrified her, to have her 4-year-old on the roof, and she would try to get her, to coax her down. Please come down from there. You can get hurt. You know what I mean? And nothing really, it happened a couple times, and nothing was really deterring her from, doing it. Well, she was in the middle of writing a book on parenthood, actually, funnily enough, and I guess she reached out to a woman who suggested to her, well, can Rosie, I don't know if that's actually her little girl's name, she was just using a name, but anyway, can Rosie run an errand for you? Because she had come across this parenting advice, I guess, that said when a kid misbehaves, they need more autonomy, they need more responsibility. So there's this Japanese reality TV show, which is now, you can watch it on Netflix. It's called Old Enough, and it's about them sending children from like 3 and 4, as young as 3 and 4, to run errands to the store. And not just like, I mean, this one little boy, like, he goes like out his house and across like a main road, you know, and like to the market. But he's got a little flag, and he knows what, you know what I mean? It's not just sending them out there. Like, she explains in the article that, like, she does send her daughter to run an errand at some point. But she had spent the year beforehand kind of training her on how she would do it. You know what I mean? Like, introducing her to shopkeepers along the way, and teaching her, letting her walk the dog, because they were going to send the dog with her, and teaching her how to put the dog, you know, tie him up outside while she went into the store to get some milk or whatever. So she helped them do it, you know, and they were explaining to her. And then eventually one day, you know, she was like, can you run to the store and get milk? And, you know, she was like, by myself? And she could tell that really excited, you know, like, all by myself? And she was like, yeah, by yourself. And I think the first time she talks about how she followed her, you know, from a distance, just to make sure. And she had done all the things that she had been taught, you know. And so then after that, so now she runs errands, you know. But that is something that is done in a lot of cultures around the world, but has been lost, you know, here in our Western culture.
Yeah, great. That's a great point, because has it ever been lost? It's like, it's no.
And you know what I mean? And I thought it was really cool because it's also based around like community, because these kids they've gone with their parents, you know what I mean? They know shopkeepers and stuff. So there's other people along the way, you know, which goes back to the kind of, it takes a village, you know, to like, so the other people are also looking out for him.
Trusted places she could go.
So as she was going to run her errand, you know, she saw shopkeepers saying, hey, Rose, you know, they'd wave to her just like they would if her parents were with her. And so she felt comfortable and confident to run the errand, and she stopped climbing out on the roof.
And my guess would be grew immensely from a self-esteem standpoint.
And it talks about in the article like how exactly that helps them, you know, have autonomy and feel responsibility and feel capable, because like she said, it's not just about like throwing them out there without ever have showing them anything, like here's a $10 bill, you know, and we never gave you any skills, because obviously, yes, that would be terrifying. So really it kind of helps you too.
It does,
you know, immensely.
Bye.
So I just thought that was very interesting.
That is.
And I actually watched a couple of the first episodes of the show, and it's very interesting to watch, and
of course, you know,
and cool to see, because like you see the little boy in the first episode, the little boy, he's supposed to get 3 things at the market. He goes and he gets 2 and he leaves, and then like you see his little brain processing, and he's like, oh, I forgot. He's speaking Japanese, but he's like, I forgot the curry, and he's like, I gotta go back. So he turns around and goes back and gets the curry. But see, he figured that out, like, and like you said, that's going to help him immensely later on in life, and just throughout life as he's growing and progressing. So I just found that very interesting, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
I saw something on Facebook the other day. Well,
first off, y'all's thoughts might be on that. So
what y'all's thoughts might be on that.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that. So comment, email us.
Of course, you know, we live in a really odd time where, you know, turning your kids loose is such a hard thing to decide to do, because it's because there's
well, she talks about that, and she talks about the term free range kids, and about how like raising free range kids isn't about just like letting them loose and like them trying to figure everything out on their own, but about you guiding them through it, you know, and giving them tools to help them be able to do those things with confidence. So,
but I was referring to the, you know, the fear and obvious, you know,
of
we
the
live in
world, yeah.
times where, you know, it's a child alone, boy, girl, whatever, is like never before, I think, could be subject to something very
Do you think it's like
terrible
never?
happening.
Do you think it's like never before, or do you think it's partly due to the fact that we're just more aware because we have so many more?
Very likely.
You get what I'm saying?
Very,
like I feel like it's
very
always
likely.
been a threat. You know what I mean?
Very likely, yeah, very likely. It's just in today's society of, you know, instant news and information.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it happening is just, you know, more pronounced and more, you know, easy to see. But likely, it's probably no worse really today than it was then. It's just that we're more aware of it, and
Right.
of course that should bring some responsibility toward us to take action via whatever course to do the best we can to minimize or to eliminate that evil that has permeated likely society, you know, families, kids, whatever, for millennia, you know. But I was going to say I saw something on Facebook the other day where somebody had put something on, and it was just it wasn't on my feed. It was just somebody that it was a copy of somebody else's, you know, interactions. And it said, you know, I've got my neighbor has a 5-year-old son that I know has been at the house by himself for 6 hours. Should I call child protective services or whatever? What do I do? You know what I mean? And then, of course, some people were alarmed, you know, and then some people said, well, you know, at 5, I was, you know, pushing a lawnmower in the yard, you know, or I was, you know, cleaning up my room or taking care of my baby brother, you know, or, you know.
Right.
It was illustrating the difference in time.
So you're saying someone else had commented on there, like that at 5 they were doing that,
right?
Right.
They
yeah,
were doing
that they were perfectly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, the concern about the 5-year-old being there for 6 hours unattended was certainly, you know, worthy of concern. But then again.
But at 5 or 6, I was out on my bike till the streetlights came on. You know what I mean? And there was no cell phone. I didn't have a beeper. My parents didn't know. I mean, now we lived, you know, when I was that young, we lived in like a gated community. I lived in a country club, so it was so it was gated. So they knew obviously that I was probably in that, you know, vicinity.
Which may or may not mean something.
I was, but what I'm saying is that like they didn't know for sure. Right. You know what I mean? Like I was just, and nobody thought to call child services. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's it's funny that you bring that up because she talks about that in the article about how here, right, in our culture, to let a child that young run an errand might be seen as neglect. Like you're saying, with a 5-year-old, you know, having them at home
saw a
by
6-year-old uptown by itself.
Right. Yeah, like that would be seen as neglect.
Right.
And so, instead of where like in another culture, you know what I mean, other people are just looking out for the kid also.
Right.
Like, and that's just.
Yeah. You know, you talk about other cultures, other countries, other cultures, you know, they might not find that strange at all.
At all.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, they got this odd analogy. You know, they got 4 or 5-year-olds with a gallon clay bucket on their head, toting water back.
Or taking care of the babies while they're off working and doing, you know, gathering water or whatever they got to do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, interesting.
It is very interesting. So what was the consensus on the Facebook? Just a bunch of different opinions.
I didn't read that many of them.
Yeah, but I was gonna say,
I told you not for us not to do this out here.
Why?
Mosquitoes are getting bad.
I know it looked like I was just picking my nose, y'all. I was just playing with my nose rings.
Probably mosquito.
A what?
Mosquito.
What is that?
Mosquito?
Yeah.
Mosquito.
Speak English so the people at home can understand.
Oh, yeah,
you.
mosquito. M-U-S-K-E-T-E-R. Mosquito. S. Mosquitoes. Man,
Mosquitoes.
No wonder these young people ain't got no sense. Man, they ain't got no education. That mosquitoes biting our ass and I don't even know. What?
Do you have anything else?
No,
I'm
upset about the mosquitoes.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I think we talked about some good stuff today, some interesting stuff
Yeah,
to get y'all thinking.
It was,
and,
y'all thinking, yeah.
And thinking.
Yeah, and thinking.
So we would love to hear what y'all think about any of these topics, about the history of Mother's Day. Did y'all know any of this stuff?
Yeah.
And what do you think about 4-year-olds running errands?
Yeah.
You know, so
or
comments.
5 or 6-year-olds for that matter.
Yeah.
And, and you know, you might.
I mean, because it's all about perspective, right? When you think your child is old enough to be
right
alone, because some 5-year-olds may not be capable as other 5-year-olds if they've not been given the tools or, you know.
And an expectation as well from the parent, you know, like, you know, look, you know, you.
Right.
You know, if you can go program, if you're 7 and you can go program the DVR or whatever they have now, you know, like.
Yeah.
You know, you've got.
Well, I mean, like, when I was 6, I was asking to, like, I was, like, doing my own laundry, and dragging a chair, because I just wanted to do it, you know what I mean? So they taught me how, and I did it.
Yeah,
like,
you can change the channels on TV, you can throw clothes in the
and
washing
I'm sure
machine.
they were probably like, oh, she wants to, let's teach her.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's, and what a help that would be for the parents as well as, you know,
right, so why not let them...
Right.
Especially if they want to, give them a little more responsibility and take something off, you know.
Absolutely.
Let it take something off your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then in a few years, you can, when they get tired of it and balk at it, you can just beat them with a belt or something, you know. Well, no, I'm joking, but
we can agree to disagree on that.
But it's just that was a total joke. I was just saying, you know, it's
yeah.
That's a because it won't nothing get old like doing laundry.
That's true. I still enjoy it, to be honest, y'all. I'm odd, I know.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, that's all I got.
All right, well,
and everybody should have a good Mother's Day story that they might want to share with us.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely. We would love that.
Yeah, and any perspective on that or any other things we talk about.
We would love more interaction with y'all, for sure. If you know the correct pronunciation.
Man, I got that
If
one
you
right.
know the correct pronunciations for anything I mispronounced, you can feel free to let me know. If you would like to comment on how to correctly spell mosquito, you can do that.
Mosquito.
No, but really, comment, do all those things, share it with anybody that you might think could laugh at us too, because really that's really all I'm hoping for, is to get y'all smiling, laughing, thanking, you know, all the above. We love y'all
and loving.
Yeah. We love y'all and hope y'all have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Snaps out.